Hello everyone and welcome to another video of mine, which can only mean one thing, as I always say and always make this joke, but we do have an announcement at Onalytica, which is that we are evolving the way that we do our influencer lists again. So Onalytica are very well known for our influencer lists. We've been producing them for over 10 years, and in that time we've produced 187 influencer lists across topics such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 5G, fintech, future of work. We have long been regarded as the go-to place for B2B influencer marketing lists, which is something that we really don't want to change. And as part of that ambition, we're really focused on always producing the best possible lists we can that serve the industry, that really capture what influence looks like on social media. For those of you that have known Onalytica for a while, you know that we used to produce top 100 lists. We actually did 163 of them in total, and this really captured the people that were creating the most content and driving the most noise on a topic in question. But a lot of the feedback that we got was that people wanted to see the more offline influence, things that couldn't really be captured just in like how many posts someone was putting out on a topic. So we pivoted to our Who's Who format a couple of years ago. We've produced 24 of them to date, and it's almost 2 years ago to the day as well, and that worked to focus more on online and offline influence, and also categorized influencers by persona, so whether they're an event speaker or an analyst or an academic or a researcher. And because all of these personas are so different, this wasn't ranked, so they were just categorized purely by those personas. This format required a lot of qualitative analysis to really capture that offline influence. So 2 years on, we're finding ourselves in this position again where we're taking a step back to assess whether there's anything that we can improve, and so that's where this new format comes in. So what are we changing? What we've actually come to realise is that there's a sweet spot somewhere in the middle between the old top 100 format and the current Who's Who format that we're doing at the moment. It's important for us to be 100% data-led and really focused on who's driving the most amount of engagement in the influencer community, but it's also really important for our list to be actionable and useful to marketers so that they know, depending on what their campaign is, whether that's an upcoming event or an upcoming piece of content, they know exactly which kind of influencers they should be activating. We're also well aware that the industry is absolutely crying out for education, with 79% of marketers wanting to work with influencers, but only 13% actually know how. We are therefore making it our mission for the latter part of this year and also going into next year and beyond to really pivot our marketing content to be as educational as possible, but we're also making our content to be more accessible as well so that we can reach more people and educate more people to drive the industry forward. What this will look like will be a top 30 to 50 influencer list focused on who is driving the most amount of engagement and who has the highest average engagement per post on both Twitter and LinkedIn. And we'll also call out what their personas are, so again, marketers know how to activate those influencers and how they can collaborate with them. And also we're going to call out when they're signed up to Onalytica's marketplace, My Onalytica, so that they know which influencers are opted in, ready and raring to collaborate. These lists will also be annualized, meaning that we can compare year on year once we do the list a second time round, calling out any changes in positions, whether someone's gone up or down in the rankings, and also if we have any new entrants as well, so that we can raise awareness and promote some new voices within the community as well. In general, a big driver for a lot of the changes that we're making is that we want to have greater collaboration with the influencer community and with the industry. So we've been really paying attention to what people are saying and what they need and the feedback that they have. But we also want to have greater transparency as well. So we want to share parts of our methodology that we can share. So what are we changing in our methodology? Creating communities is one of our core values here at Onalytica, and that has many applications, with this being just one of them. As part of our research phase where we're compiling an influencer sample, we're collaborating directly with influencers to get nominations of who they follow, who they're influenced by within their community that we can consider as part of our analysis phase. In the future, we will scale this up by having nominations open year-round on our website. To discover the influencers that are driving the most amount of engagement and creating the most content on social, we do this through detailed Boolean queries, through social listening, and also in Onalytica's curated database of over 1 million influencers. In addition to this, we also check industry publications, industry events, any councils or membership bodies within the industry so that we're covering every single corner of the industry. Throughout all of this, we continue to collaborate with 5 to 10 influencers to ensure that we're not missing anyone and that we're truly capturing that particular topical community. Once we're happy that we have the most exhaustive list possible and that exists within the industry, we can then move on to the fun part, which is the data. We analysed 6 months worth of data to come to the initial raw ranking, which we can then start to dig into to rank influencers based on who's driving the most amount of engagement and who has the highest average engagement per post as well on Twitter and LinkedIn. For these lists, we do actually combine Twitter and LinkedIn together, and as I said, we're focused on who's driving the most amount of engagement across those 2 platforms as a whole, and we're also considering average engagement per post. But as part of that, we're really careful to not penalise someone that has a great presence on one social media platform and not on the other. We're wanting it to be as fair as possible, so we focus on 50% of the score is on who's driving the most amount of engagement as a whole, but then the average engagement per post, we take an average of their average across both platforms, and that accounts for the other 50%. As part of this, we also have some parameters in place so that we don't have influencers on one end of the spectrum where they've put out, say, 1 or 2 posts that are anomalies really, and they've driven a load of engagement, but then they're very silent for the rest of the year. And on the other end of the spectrum, people that are very spammy and perhaps use some sort of automation tool. So we do set some parameters there to make sure that we're not including any of those kind of influencers, because we want to be as fair as possible to those that are putting in lots of work and having big impact in the community. So to summarise, we will be continuing to produce these Who's Who's lists once a month across all of our core topical communities. So as I've mentioned, artificial intelligence, 5G, future of work and fintech, which coincidentally is our next one. So stay tuned for that to see what this new format looks like. These lists will be ungated and showcase the top 30 to 50 content creators and influencers that are driving the most amount of engagement on social, and we'll be showing these or repeating these annually and showcasing any changes in the rankings. These lists will be 100% data-led and focus purely on who's driving the most amount of engagement and impact on social within that community and on those topics. But we will be calling out each influencer's persona, and also if they're signed up to Monolithica, so that marketers know who they can action, how they can action them and collaborate with them. And lastly, and arguably most importantly, is that this is really a true collaboration with the industry, with the influencer communities as well. So that's a really key part in our change, is collaborating with experts in the industry to make sure we're not missing anyone and to continually work to improve the list. So hopefully you found that interesting and insightful. As I said, we can't give away every single detail on our methodology, and even if we could, I wouldn't, because that would be super boring, to be honest. But hopefully this gives you some insight into what our journey has looked like with the influencer list, how we've evolved them, why we've evolved them, and why we're making these changes currently as well, and to give you faith that these are the best influencer lists still in the industry. That's not going to change. We are really proud to say that we do produce the best influencer list within B2B influencer marketing. So yeah, we want you to buy into this, and we're really open to any feedback or to change things that we could be doing in a better way. So would love to hear your feedback in the comments. Do reach out to me if you have any questions or anything like that. But yes, stay tuned for our next influencer list. Bye.
No. You say hello to LinkedIn. You say no. This is Albie, everyone. What do you think about influencers? Do you like our new list?